How many people here are in marketing? Yes, 100%. That's what I was aiming for. Cool. How many of you have heard this statement before? 1, 2, 3. How many have heard it not from me? This guy. A few people. Okay, good. Good. So what's going on here is that today I'm just going to talk to you about something that's happening, why it's happening, and how you can make it happen in your brand. Are we all marketers at brands? Is that what's going on here? No? How many people are marketing at a brand? Like 6 people. What's the other stuff? What else is there other than a brand and then maybe government?
Agency.
So you're marketing at an agency for
other brands.
So you're brands, marketing for brands.
Database stuff.
Database. You're marketing database stuff? Is the database stuff basically a brand?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No.
The database marketing stuff.
Oh, database marketing.
Nothing to do with brand.
Oh, okay. But what are you marketing?
People's products.
From what? From brands?
Well, yeah.
There you go. Okay. So.
Divorced from the brand stuff.
Okay. Anyway, most people are selling stuff either tangentially through an agency for a brand, or they're working at a brand to sell what the brand is selling. Essentially, everything has a brand, unless we don't disagree on something like government doesn't have a brand, which I think it does. Sports, they kind of do. Utilities. I mean, we just heard from a utility that has a very strong brand. All these things. So essentially, everything has a brand. What's going on is, this is kind of now, but a little bit more future, is that brands are media companies. And I'm going to spend the next 7 hours explaining to you minutely why this is the case. Brands are media companies. So it's a statement. It's slightly controversial, but it's not really. And the reason is because of this. This is a remote control. I've modeled it off the Apple remote. And what we're looking at here is channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. So somebody's at home and they're flicking between channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. And a media company makes stuff that goes on channel 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Netflix and everything else. But can anyone guess what the new channel 1, 2, 3, and 4 is? Can anyone guess what they might be? The new channel 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
YouTube.
Bingo. It's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And what I mean by this is that you are now in your phone, in your pocket, you're going to Instagram, looking at Instagram TV channel. Go to Twitter, go to the Twitter TV channel. YouTube, watch a YouTube video, watch on the YouTube. You're just flicking channel to channel because that's where your attention is. Your attention is there. It's not really on TV anymore. This is the first year ever that less than 50% of ad spend has been on TV. It's now going over to the internet. So your TV channels are in your pocket and they're at home. And my daughter, who's almost 5, has never watched TV. She just watches Netflix and YouTube. And that's it. And she cannot comprehend that she could never pause something. And she's always going up to the TV trying to touch the next Pingu video. And I'm like, it's not a fucking touchscreen. Jesus. Right? So the world has changed. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this company. Who knows Sephora? A few people. Okay, because some people didn't know Sephora. I was surprised. So Sephora is quite a large international brand that sells makeup that looks a little bit nicer than that. And what Sephora is doing is they're using all those TV channels, those new ones. They're using Instagram. 12.4 million followers. They upload a video every 6 hours and they get 1 million views. Like, motherfucker, that is insane. Like, can you imagine being a brand and getting this going on? It didn't just happen quickly. I'm going to tell you how they got there. But the thing there is that they have gone to the channel. So in the past, a media company would go to BBC One and go, right, well, I've got some programming for you. And they're like, have you really? And now you don't have to go to BBC One and convince boring people in a terrible room. You just go to Instagram, start your own account, and you get followers. And you get followers by being of interest and by being consistent and by putting a lot of stuff out there that makes sense. Like this that looks like it's from the same company, doesn't it? It doesn't look like it's from all over the place. It's not from Tesla and then from Sephora. It's all from the same company. Consistent and consistent. So publish, design, the whole thing. But also iterating. So in the early days, they're making stuff, trying it out, going, oh, that didn't work. It needs to be in focus. What a surprise. All sorts of things to get to a point where it works better and better. And the iteration continues. So Instagram is one of their channels. YouTube is another one of their TV channels that they use. And this is really interesting. So the average length of a video that they have on Instagram is 6 seconds. Average video they have on YouTube is essentially this one, 18 minutes. They upload a new YouTube video every 2 days. And each video is between 37 minutes and like 12 minutes and whatever, averaging around 18 minutes. So they're making an 18-minute TV show every 2 days and delivering it into the market. And they get 11,000 views, 35,000 views. Some of them down here are like on 200,000 views. So what's really interesting here is that you have 1 million views per 6-second video on Instagram, where people are just hanging out and swishing through. And then YouTube, where you can be dragged in a little bit. It can be a video on the back of another video, or when the video ends, 6 pop up and you're like, oh, Sephora, I'll play that. You can discover it, a friend can send it to you, but then once you're in there, you're coming back and you're watching a TV show. You know, you're essentially, 18 minutes is a commercial half hour. Like, you're watching a TV show now. But again, they didn't have to go to ITV, they didn't have to go to BBC One, they didn't have to go to Time Warner and say, hey, can we get a distribution deal and talk about $7 million up front. They just, for free, started a YouTube channel and just started uploading videos. But it does take a long time, but I'm going to get to that. But they just start uploading videos. They upload one every 2 days. And that consistency means that people expect it and they keep coming back and they start building a habit around watching new videos. Now, the really interesting thing here is that the very important thing to understand about content marketing is that you don't sell in your content marketing. You just educate. And you just do like entertainment. So it can be funny, it can be educational, it can be thought-provoking, all that stuff. But you don't sell. So these people are all holding products. That's fine. Because what they're doing is, in that video, you learn how to use those products to get the outcome that you might want. So maybe you want smoky eyes. Maybe you want something else, right? You're too oily, right? How do I sort my oil problems out? They tell you how to sort out your oil problems, and tangentially, you can use some of their products. They're not saying, hey, look at this great product. It was made out of beeswax and cow skins. And who gives a shit? They're just saying, this is how you are not oily anymore. You can basically use any products to do that. They just happen to be using their products, and because they're bringing you the film, and they kind of don't brand any of their videos either. There's no like, brought to you by Horsewhip. It's just simply, this is the content, this is the value you're going to get from it. Hope you had a good time. There's a new video in 2 days. And they go, okay. Because the massively key point here is that with content marketing, you don't want to piss anybody off by trying to take from them. They're turning up. The context is that you publish it. So your brand is in the corner of the video. Like it's down there when it's playing. It's like sent to you by Sephora. You don't need to do anything else. They know where it came from. They know it's about makeup. They watch a video, they watch another video, they watch another video. They're like, actually, I would like to not be so oily and also have smoky eyes. So I will probably go to Sephora, you know, and that's basically how it works. They'll probably go to Sephora. They might not, but they probably will. And that's the thing. You keep them interested and happy and excited and entertained, and they will probably buy from you. If you start trying to drag them in with specials and doing disgusting stuff, like imagine on here, I've seen this over and over, on the Instagram, you've got like Friday special, 50% off, da-da-da. You're like, oh, this is gross. Like, 'cause this stuff pops up in your Instagram feed with all your friends and everything else, and say like, oh, gross, Sephora's having a sale, disgusting, unfollow, and then all of a sudden it's over. You don't show up anymore, you're not consistent, you don't exist anymore because you were gross. So the key point here is to not be gross and just be pleasant and interesting and charming and delightful, so people just want to hang out. And they're like, yeah. And then, oh, I might buy a few. Don't fucking force them. Okay? So, YouTube still, so 855,000 subscribers. You know, these are nice lofty numbers. You know, it's pretty hard to get up there. But this is, I circled this number, not this number, right? Because this is the important one. They joined on the 1st of January 2006. So they've been on the platform for 11 years, 11 horrific, grueling years of trying to iterate how to get to where they are today. 120 million views. It's not easy, and I'm going to talk about this within this piece here, is that you don't just start doing it and it just works. And not everyone who does it work. It takes a lot of trying and changing and trying and changing. It's agile marketing at its core, right? So this sadly looks a little bit like fallopian tubes, but what it is a marketing funnel where It's got vlogging at the top and social bites. This is Sephora. This is how Sephora does it. The vlogging is those videos on YouTube every 2 days, new video every 2 days. That's what they call their vlog. I don't really think it's a vlog because it's essentially a TV show, but they call it a vlog. Happy with that. And then over here they've got the social bites, which is a new video every 6 hours on Instagram. And then on Facebook, there's another strategy. I haven't really understood what the hell they're doing on Facebook, but they do bespoke videos on there as well, which is a lot of interviews, a lot of other things, which get some views, but I couldn't figure out what the hell that they were doing, so I didn't put them there. And then when you go from those two, once the people have, you know, they've come into your way of thinking, they've turned up at your TV channels, then they're like, yeah, so I'll subscribe, I'll come back, I'll watch The Simpsons again. They're hanging out, and then at some point they want to make a decision. Like, whatever you do, don't try and force them down there. I've got a special, 50% off. They're like, fuck off, right? You're gone. Let them know it's there, but just let them hang out, and then they go, how do I specifically do smoky eyes? Smoky eyes in Sephora's channel. And they're like, smoky eyes, da-da-da. Okay, that's great. What products? Okay, bingo. I'll go there and I'll buy it. And then I'll crawl my sorry ass back up here and hang out on Instagram and everywhere else where I already am and have a nice time because it's consistent and it's fun and it's enjoyable and I want to hang out. And then when I'm thinking about what am I going to do with that cool thing with my ear, how do I do it with my ear? I'll buy it and I'll come back, right? And that's the thing. It keeps on going because you didn't piss them off, you told them how it was going to be, and you really easily let them buy off you. Like, it's super important. People keep thinking, oh, well, if I just make it easy for them to hang out, then it'll be great. And you're like, yeah, but you have to super optimize this process. Like, iterate on it constantly so it's really easy for them to do that. And then tell other people and turn back there again. Right? This is some stuff that Sephora specifically is doing. So this is now inside the content. Diversity and talent. They know that their market is diverse, wide, and all sorts of people, all sorts of skin color, all sorts of languages, all sorts of parts of the world. So they're really deep on making diversity and talent. And that also relates to this, which I'll talk about. Video precedes new products. So any new products they have, they're always doing TV shows which just happen to incorporate these new things. They're like, what the hell's this new thing? And then boom, 2 weeks later they launch it. Engagement KPIs. The whole point of any of their videos is not click-through rates. It's not, okay, how do we convert to a sale? Like, how many dollars did that video make? They never, ever look at those numbers because that's just such a waste of time. The only thing they care about, because this is what leads to all that stuff, is the engagement KPIs. And people think that likes and reshares and comments don't matter. And I'm like, okay, what is the only thing that someone can do in the social sphere to show that they're actually paying any attention to a piece of content? They can click like, they can comment on it, and they can share it with someone else. That's the only ways they can do anything other than doing some awful click on some disgusting special you put up there and end up on a special bit.ly URL that took them to a page, and then you could say that they went from that page to that page, and like, it's okay, VP of marketing, they went from there to there, and 6 of them did it, and we made $800. No one cares. Just go to engagement KPIs. Engagement KPIs. If there's 1 million people who watch it, does 10% plus do something? If so, then your content is engaging enough people are coming back, and it's going to do the rest of its jobs. As long as you've optimized the buying process, just let them buy easily, but let them get there themselves. Don't force them there. React to the viewers. Sephora does a pretty good job of replying to almost every single comment on YouTube. They don't do it on Instagram because there's just too many comments. Like a video every 6 hours and there's 500-600 comments per. They can't do it. It's mostly just cats anyway, like just the cat emoji thing. And so with that is that if you react to your viewers, if you're making content this constantly, you need to react to the viewers. So for Sephora, one of their things, we were talking about this before, one of their things was that they were doing anti-aging cream on an 18-year-old. And the audience was like, dude, I'm a 55-year-old woman. Can you just get someone who looks a bit like me so that we can see what it's like? And then boom, they make a video starring a 55-year-old woman. It makes total sense, and then it makes sense to move on. So this is something that people don't think about enough, is actually reacting to the audience. You make a video, you put it out, it's in the social sphere, people react to it, everyone just ignores them. They just put up the hand and go, can't be bothered. Go in, figure out what's going on, what are they asking for next, what do they like, what do they hate, why didn't they like it? If they're coming at you with rage, that's way better than ambivalence. If they're coming at you with rage, go, you're passionate, this is good, this is good. Love and hate are like this. Ambivalence is nothing. So react to everything, react to the positive, and react to the negative to learn what they want next, right? So with Sephora, they've got a few things that they think about. Always on, so the content is always there. It's just coming out constantly, bang, 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 bang. They make content that is social first, so they make content specifically to go on Instagram. It's not made as a TV commercial and then re-edited by some bozo to then go on Instagram, or a YouTube video cut down and put on Instagram. It's specifically made to go on Instagram, and it goes nowhere else. And they do a lot of that work. Curated video programs, that is their TV shows on YouTube. There's a whole lot of different types of TV shows, and they put them out in different days so that you can basically jump from TV show to TV show. And I don't mean like just episodical. I mean they're episodical, and then there's another TV show, so you can watch The Simpsons and Futurama and all the other ones. And they do that so that they're all interrelated, and they have people star in different ones all the time, so you can follow people, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, they've built their content machine, which is how a brand becomes a media company. They have to become a content machine. They essentially have to act like a media company, which they have their own studio, their full studio with lights and editors and everything, and they have the entire thing. So they have their own media company making content for them constantly inside their company. They don't outsource it. They don't hire freelancers. It's all full-time staff that work inside Sephora. So this is interesting. Timing, which is actually a real media company, they make 2,500 videos a year, which is basically 10 per day. So they deliver to the market 10 videos per day on all sorts of platforms. Can anyone guess, unless I accidentally said it, can anyone guess how many videos Sephora makes in a year? No guesses. All right. 1,000. So Sephora, which is a brand that sells makeup and is not a real media company, is actually getting pretty close to a real media company, right? Like this is, to me, this is insane. And also in 2014, they made 24 videos. The content machine that they've built inside their organization so that they can act more like a media company, everyone thinks that it's that. Like, so you're in marketing, you're like, okay, content, great. Well, I'll just get some content made. And it's difficult. You have to go and find a freelancer and what's the script and what's the output. And so you end up making one piece of content and you go, great, job done. We're now a content machine. But you can see there's a huge gap over here, which I'm about to fill in, which is that's like almost looks like a quarter, but it's kind of less than a quarter, which is that the creation of the content is really just the very first step. Once you have the final piece, now the hard work starts. So now, especially when you've got 1,000 videos, or if you're a media company, you've got 2,500 videos, and then you have 10,000 videos. Asset management. I mean, how many people here do video and have an asset manager for video, which can do tagging and publishing? One guy, two guys. What is it called? What's it called? Yeah.
Management, but it depends on the client and the platform we're using. I use a lot of Wistia and Vimeo.
Right. And what's your one called?
Our service like here, we have a social media person who does a lot of tagging for all of our videos we produce.
In what asset manager?
Not so sure.
Oh yeah. So the thing that's going on is that we talk to so many brands that they don't actually have asset management. So things like Wistia, that's just one place to publish, but it's not really an asset manager. It's good because you can publish to Wistia, but you can't publish anywhere else, and you can't aggregate, track, and report from where the video went everywhere. It's just one video platform. And then if you want to have that, and then you want to have Brightcove and Vimeo, they're all separate, so that it's not tied together. So you're creating all this stuff, but you've got to tie it all together with asset management, have it so that you can quickly distribute this stuff everywhere, which is the whole distribution piece. Some way of putting it out onto all the different platforms, basically on a calendar with ad spend and everything else, so that it is just consistent and it's tied back to the assets, which comes back to the reporting piece, which is if you're making all these videos and then they're just all over the place, some on a hard drive, they're on Facebook, they're not really tied together, and you kind of distributed them, some on Facebook, a couple on Instagram and everything, and then you start to try and do the reporting. Like, how in the hell are you going to do that? How are you going to tie together the reporting across all those things without having to go to those things, copy and paste numbers? God, so many people I talk to just copy and paste numbers out of YouTube and other places and just put them into a spreadsheet, and they're like, okay, that's great. But you're like, well, what are you reporting? And so many people report on the wrong things. They just report on views. They're like, great, on Facebook, we guess how many views we've got, 15,000. You're like, that's cool, bro. But how many watched past 3 seconds? And like, I don't know. And you go, look into the numbers. fuck, you know what? Only 900 looked past 3 seconds, and they only got up to 40% of the video.
And none of them had the sound on.
Yeah, and none of them heard it, which is good because basically make videos without sound. But also then you go, okay, so you're saying it was 14,000. Your ad spend was 10 grand, and you're like so jazzed, and you're like, no, it's 900. So now it's 10 grand for 900, and you go, of the 900, what was the engagement rate? How many people did something with that video? And you're like, oh shit, it's less than 1%. And you go, okay, so you just spent 10 grand distributing it, and you probably spent 10, 20 grand making it. So $30,000, and you got less than 1% of 900 people engaging with your content. And so this is where reporting becomes super important, is that people are constantly reporting the wrong shit. They're reporting vanity metrics, and people think vanity metrics is like likes and things. Likes and everything, when you relate it to the number of true plays, is your engagement, and it's a conversion rate. And that means that content works and fits to the demographic, and people like it, and they want more of it, so you should make more of it. So make sure that you're reporting the right stuff, which means it has to be tied through to the distribution, which has to be tied to the asset management, which has to be tied to the creation. So if you're not tying it all together, you're just making your life a world of hell. And so that's how Sephora and others are doing Content Machine. So the key point here is create and distribute. So many people just think, I create it and then, oh, I'll just put it on YouTube. You're like, okay, that's not a plan. Because the outcome is you want ROI. Over time, you want ROI. So Sephora's short-term plan is not to have, in the first month, how many billions did we make? It's over years, how big is the audience, how engaged are they, and how do they trickle down to sales? And then over time, what's the conversion rate? And this really ties to the concept of Agile marketing, especially with the concept of making, distributing, reporting, is that the reporting of every piece of content should then inform the creation of the next piece. It should always be a cyclical event. Is that how did it go? What did they like? Did they engage? Was it too long? Was it too short? Did it have the wrong people in it? Did it have music? Did they not like the music? Was it funny but it should have been serious? All these things, you don't always know what the pure answer is, but you look at it and go, okay, we'll try this next. Okay, we'll try this next. And you slowly but surely, inch by inch, you get better and better and better. And you iterate. And this is a really important piece because so many people are so afraid of video because it seems all expensive and hard. And too many, they're just so hard. Studios, what am I going to do? The sound quality, blah, blah, blah. And you just go, well, if you think about the stuff from Sephora that I was showing you on Instagram, they do a single studio shoot for half a day for all of the videos that go on Instagram over the next month. And they do it with a couple of models and a few bits of this, that, and the other, and some lights and some flowers and other things. They just do a whole lot of weird shots, and they just cut them all down, and then they just post them over the time period. And every month, they do a new theme, and they figure out what worked and what didn't work from the last, God knows how many they posted, and then they iterate on that. And then month after month, it gets stronger and stronger, and the conversion rate goes up, and the followers get bigger and bigger. And you iterate forever. And this is my favorite saying, create your worst video today. So the idea is that if you're iterating to success, it means that every day you make a video, it's your worst video, because the next day you made the better one, and the next one, the better one, right? And so the worst video has to be made today so that the next day you can make the better one. And that's to reduce the fear of just getting started. So if you're in marketing and you have a brand or you work for an agency that works with a brand, just think about how quickly can we get just a video out there. Think about the demographic, think about the platform, think about the type of engagement you're looking for, and just think, what's the quickest way we could just make something, put it in front of them and just see what happens? I mean, on Instagram it's instantaneous in terms of, they've forgotten within hours that it was there. So the fear of quality shouldn't be there. Just make a terrible video, see how it went, and make a better one the day after. And once you're in that path of creation and distribution and reporting, the calmness will come, and then you'll be in flow, and then all of a sudden you've made 10,000 videos. And the concept there is that you have to create your never-ending thread. It's not that you're making a product video for a conversion, and then it's over. And then we're doing this event, so we'll do a video, and then it's over. It's that you're creating the never-ending thread that they follow. So your brand has a thread, has a story. If you think about PowerShop, it's got a brand, it's got a feeling, a mood. You can think about all the types of videos they could produce here to take you on that journey. We saw some great posters. What about the films about those posters? Taking you further into it. And every time you make a new video, you're like, oh, we could try this next. We could try this next. So you're interested. You make interesting stuff. They're interested. You learn what they're not interested in. And you don't do that again. And you do the next bit. And you just keep going on this thread. And you just take them to wherever. Like, we all know we're going to die at some point. So our thread ends at some point. But we don't think about it. We all know that businesses go out of business. But we don't think about it. We just go, just never-ending thread. Just keep going. Don't have an end goal in mind. Just go, I need their attention. I need to keep their attention. I need to grab them. I need to engage them. I need to keep them around me. And when they want to buy something, they'll probably buy it off me. And that's it, right? That's how it works. So don't be like this. If you want to watch The Simpsons, right, and this is how The Simpsons is delivered every week. Imagine if The Simpsons was delivered like this. Simpsons 1 week, 2 weeks, no Simpsons. Next week, Simpsons, no Simpsons. And then maybe 2 Simpsons in a week. And then no Simpsons. And then 2 months pass. Oh, The Simpsons are back. How the hell are you supposed to create a new habit of watching The Simpsons if it's not on Wednesday at 7 o'clock every day? Like every week, I mean. Like, how are you supposed to be like, I'm with The Simpsons, I've got a habit, I want to keep watching it, I want more. This is how it works. This is how it's tried and true. The TV's done it for 70, 80 years. It's how it works. We know that's how people create habits. So don't do this with the video. Don't post haphazardly. Don't post once and then 6 weeks, I forgot. You're like, well, that's because they forgot you. And so it's your own fault. You lost them. These are the TV channels now. Isn't it weird to think that Twitter is a TV channel? But it is. You can upload video directly to it. In fact, LinkedIn is now a TV channel. They've just launched a video platform. Snapchat's a channel to some people. Controversial statement. I've tried to use it. I can't. So this is now where your audience is. And the real key point here is that it's attention. Their attention is already there, doing a whole lot of other stuff other than paying any attention to you whatsoever. So there's all this great stuff. Oh, that funny guy on Twitter. That's great. And then you pop up once, right? You pop up once, and they're like, oh, that's funny. And then you just don't show up for ages. They never think about you again. And then you might pop up. You do heaps of ad spend, so you pop up again. They're like, oh, that's cool. They click through. There's no other videos on your whole thing. Like, oh, it's boring. Click away. Da, da, da. You know? This. You pop up once. They're like, oh, that's funny. Click in. Go and have a look. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Follow. Go back. Do something else. Next day, you turn up again. Every few hours, you keep turning up. They're like, oh, that's funny. I might go to Power Shop and see what their deals are like. You know? Talked about this at the start. Content around your theme, do not content around yourself. So don't be talking about how cool your power company is and how special the power is that you sell. It's all about the awesome posters that they showed earlier. It's the stuff around your actual product and your actual service. All the stuff around the world that inhabits what you actually want to sell them. So again, we go back to Sephora. They sell makeup to people, but they make how-to videos on how to not be oily and how to have smoky eyes. Any makeup can do that, but they're doing it so that you pay attention to them, so that you probably buy off them. And just remember, it's the long game. Sephora joined in 2006, and 11 years later they have, what was it? I don't know, almost 1 million followers, 120 million views. And it's kind of extraordinary. This is a little bit like the startup thing, you know, when you're in a startup and you're trying to become $1 billion company. The first few years, you know, if you think about Xero, the accounting software, which is now worth more than $1 billion, it's up here. The first 2 or 3 years, nobody really talks about it. But like, it took them ages to take off, because it takes ages for anyone to take off. There is no overnight success. I don't know if anybody knows Slack, the messaging app for people. And they're like, oh my God, they got like 1 billion people on their thing in the first day or so. And years passed, you know. It was 2 or 3 years until they actually started to take off. And then boom, it went crazy. And so with your content, with your constant video, constant storytelling, constant wallpaper video, it's going to take a while to take off. You know, don't be depressed that your first video gets 3 views and that your second video gets 9 views. My God, that's like a 200% increase. Amazing, right? But if it's 9 views and there's no likes and no comments and no sharing, you're like, shit, that's annoying. The next day it's 9 views, nothing. Next 9, you're like, damn it. It's not damn it because there's 9 views, it's damn it because no one's doing anything. And you're like, okay, maybe the market doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm not putting it in front of the right people. So you have to do a whole lot of hustle to get them engaged. But then you have 50 views and you have 10 comments and 5 likes and 6 shares. And you're like, shit, this is working. If you get it working down here, it's going to be working up here, you know? 50 views, you're like, God damn it, 2 years of 50 views, 100 views, 150 views. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm getting 10,000 views a day, but my engagement is still 0.1%. But like, no, if my engagement was 15%, 10,000 views at 15%, you're like, I'm crushing it. And it takes a long time to get there. So don't worry about the long game. It is tough for people, especially marketing managers, to explain it up the chain and say, okay, I've got this long game in mind. We're going to see return on investment in 24 months. And they're like, no, you're not. You're not doing it. You're like, God damn it. But if you can make this investment be much less than your entire marketing budget, then it becomes a risk worth taking, or a risk that you can take. Imagine this was only 10% of your budget at any one time. And you're like, look, it's a long game. Trust me, Sephora did it. It's going to be awesome. It only took them 11 years. And they're like, no. And then you just keep going, and then you finally get there. But the caveat is that not everyone gets there. Don't assume that just because you do it, it's actually going to work. It's fucking hard. And the other piece that I wanted to say was just create brand wallpaper. I think people are a little bit too obsessed that videos have to always do big lofty jobs, like deeply explain features and deeply explain services and all these other things. It doesn't have to. You can just make a 6-second mood film and just put it up. And you're like, oh, that feels nice. That feels nice. Follow. And then within it, you might tell a story and everything else. Just chill out a bit about it always having to be really like high production value and story-based and highly creative, and just throw some wallpaper out there. And then, of course, keep saying it over and over again, the KPI is attention plus engagement. Attention is how many people are actually paying attention beyond the 3 seconds on Facebook. And what's the engagement? Is it above 10% per viewership? 10,000 views, 1,000 people did something. And that is the key to success. If that starts working, everything else will work. And then it's a game of optimization, optimizing the buying process so it's easy for them to find it and put in a credit card, do all those other things. There's a concept that there's like, I think Gary Vaynerchuk was saying jab, 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 right punch or something, which was like give value, give value, give value, and then ask. And I'm like, no, forget it. Just give, 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 and that's it. Just give, give, give. The customer, as I said before, they're hanging out with you. Oh, I need some makeup. They'll probably buy off Sephora because they keep hanging out with them. Don't try and take. They'll come and give you money. Just let them give it to you within time. Let them do the work. So, brands and media companies. That's the new remote control. And that's all I've got to say.